What is important for a man to understand about the feminine principle in order to better understand his woman and the women around him?
Yeah, it's really important for a man to understand the feminine principle, both for himself and for his woman, because, I alluded to the fact that even man is composed half of this feminine principle is the polarity of masculine and feminine. So what's valuable to a man is to understand the feminine principle in himself and then also to see it in his woman. So if this feminine principle, she's all about the material, she's about the body. It's very important for man to be in his body. Mm-hmm. If he's just up in the mind, then he cannot feel this feminine principle. He'll be more logical, trying to control it, trying to direct it really, but without the sensitivity. So for man, he must find the sensitivity through his breath, through being kind and loving to himself. Now, when he starts to apply that to himself, getting to know his own body, he's getting to know the feminine principle. Mm-hmm. When he cares about his home, he's also getting to know the feminine principle, or about the garden or about his children. It's all feminine principle. And then how does that help him with woman? Well, then if he understands that the very nature of woman is that she's always changing, she's unpredictable, and she's cyclical. So, of course, on the bigger level, we can see the seasons are cycling. But in a woman's body, as that embodiment of the feminine principle, she has a hormonal system that is driving her emotionally. And that is her menstrual system, or the system that allows her to birth a baby. And it's an incredibly powerful system. So if a man can learn about the cycle, that feminine cycle, early on in relationship, he'll start to be able to see how his woman's behaving and why she is behaving that way. So it's not this like chaotic thing, like, why is she being like this? Or why is she not saying what she means, because when he understands her cycle, and that's a very simple thing, all he has to do is find out day one of her period, get a tracking app, and find out when she's ovulating on day 14. He'll understand that she's probably a bit more sensuous, that it's a good time to approach her for love making or tenderness, And also to know in that later part of the cycle, around day, say, 23, 25, she's going to be more reactive. As she's getting ready to bleed, her estrogen levels are up, her progesterone level, she's hungry and she doesn't know what she wants. She wants to eat more, she wants to indulge more, she's going to be emotionally a little bit more chaotic. Mm-hmm. This is a natural part of that feminine principle going through the cycle. And then what's going to happen? She's going to shed that wall, unless she's pregnant, of course. And with that is this big recycling process, so it's death of the old blood, so she's going to be tired. And so don't expect her to cook that, first or second day of the period. Do it for her, So these are very practical things for a man to help. Give her chocolate, give her flowers when she starts to bleed, or, a little glass of wine or pomegranate. Like, take care of her, nurture her in this time, and she'll be so incredibly grateful for this, and to understand that something that a woman really, really struggles with is that she has this cycle in her, and it does create a lot of emotional chaos in her. Her challenge is to be able to express it and say, I feel this way. Mm-hmm. But for him, if he knows where she is in her cycle, he can then say, I do understand, or I won't react to that because I know that she's feeling this way or that way, he should know that he doesn't take her out hiking, or somewhere crazy like a party on, when she's coming into menstruation or something. So understanding her cycle is very, very important. Understanding her emotional cycle is important because it will change with that hormonal system. So there's just a couple of just little keys how to know and flow with your woman, not make that a problem, but actually that you're part of that cycle.
How can women who do not have such a connection with a man inform him about it? And how can they at least start moving in that direction?
A lot of women don't share what's going on with them. Sometimes this is because of shame. Maybe when she came into her cycle, she was really ashamed of it and nobody knew how to support her. So rather than actually be really open with it, often the challenge for man is that his mother never shared it with him. So it's like almost like this dark corner, you know, where you don't go there. And he wants to perhaps support her, but it's kind of some strange energy about it from his mother. So when a woman starts to accept her menstruation as really a special part of her life, you know, she accepts that actually this is what allows me to be a creatress here on the planet. This is what allows me to birth a baby. And not only birth a baby, but this is the source of creative power. So women, you know, their creativity comes not so much from a logical, structural place, but when a woman just feels in her body, she often gets inspirations, ideas, intuitions, dreams, you know, she sees things quickly. Often she doubts them. And this doubt is what keeps her from sharing with her man. And that's what we need to overcome, is to say, actually, to get in touch with loving her menstruation. Actually, I have an online course on my Peruquois.ru platform, which is exactly for that, to help her fall in love with her menstruation. And then when she does that, she's able to invite man in. Because if she, as you say, if she doesn't trust it or accept it in herself, it doesn't give that right to man to understand her. So her honesty, you know, saying this is where I am in the cycle and this is how I feel, you know, and not being wrong about that, not being ashamed about that. If you feel that you're being reactive, being really honest with her and say, sorry, my love. Imagine how freeing that is from a man when you've just kind of gone, why did you do that? And they go, sorry, my love, I'm just, you know, I'm like a week off my period. And that's very freeing for a man to be let into her inner world, you know, to understand why is she the way she is, or why is she making sexual advances to him, or why is she holding herself from him. So when we understand the cycle of ourselves more, we can start to learn more about our emotional nature. And then honesty. That is the key. I think that when a woman is really open and honest, it grows a man up. When she keeps her mystery world, her inner world, or shameful world away from him, he stays young. He doesn't learn about who she is. That's the key. It's just for her to start trusting herself and then being really honest. And eventually, you know, teaching her daughter about it, being open even with her sons about it. That might seem like a radical idea, but that is how this will change through the generations, is when she, as the mother of the family, starts to share more openly and not make it a taboo subject, you know.